It's Rockin right here on your classic metal show with It's Not Love, and that one going out from our good friend Jackal for D in the chat room.
Jackal requested a Dockin tune?
He did. He said it was a birthday request for D.
Oh, how sweet. Somebody's trying to get laid.
Yeah, I guess. So there
working?
you go.
Well, good for them. I like that tune.
Yeah, it is. I played that off of the remastered version. The rock.
Yeah, of course, you have the fancy schmancy.
Well, I got it from you.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Is it? I gave you the discs.
Well, you gave me the MP3s.
MP3s, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't own the discs, so if I ever had them, I gave them to you.
No, I didn't get the actual disc, but I did get the MP3s.
All right. You know what I got discs of this week?
I don't know.
2. Count them 2 discs of Rockin Randy.
Oh, really?
With John Karabi. I'm not bringing them to the show this week. I'm going to go through them, and 2 solid discs of Randy. I got to go through them and pick them apart a little bit and find some pieces, or else we could literally go 6 hours just tearing this thing down. But
was this something he did years ago?
It is.
Oh, okay.
It's something that he did with Karabi like 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that's the one where he chased Rat to like Virginia or something.
Yeah, but we never had audio of it.
No. But I remember when that they were playing in Cleveland. I'm trying to remember where it was. And
bodies or something. Nowhere big.
Yeah, it was an outdoor thing, I think. I can't remember, right. but I know that he and somebody got in his little Ford Ranger and basically chased them down to Richmond, Virginia or something.
I gotta imagine it's Chris Wicks.
It could have been. I don't recall who it was with him, but this was like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, the CDs came from Chris Wicks, so I'm going to assume.
Okay, all right. Well, that's
traveling.
All right, because I remember they took this road trip and they basically drove down there overnight for whatever reason.
Right,
and they were chasing Rat around when Jizzy was in the band still.
Sure, Randy.
So, kind of bizarre.
Well, we will have audio that I'm sure will be stellar.
Okay.
I gave it like 5 minutes and I was like, okay, there's a lot here.
Sure.
I may break it down into like 20 equal parts and spread it out over the course of an entire year. Because there's a lot of Randyisms going on in this thing.
Boy. All right. Well, I'm kind of looking forward to hearing some of that.
Mother trucker this and all that.
Oh, yeah. That's when he was on his big Sebastian Bach kick.
That's right. Doing the secret handshake and shit like that.
I told you about chasing Sebastian Bach down to Columbus, didn't I?
Oh, Randy doing it?
Well, I went with Randy. Randy,
oh, yeah.
Randy was just so hell-bent on Sebastian.
Right.
That he's just like, Sebastian's playing Alvaro Sevilla, man. You got to go. You got to go. I'll introduce you to Richie Scarlett. And I did get to meet Anton Fig.
Right.
Who was, he was on David Letterman for the longest time in the David Letterman band.
Sure.
And Richie Scarlett, who, played with Ace Frehley. Mm-hmm. And then Paul Crook, who was in Anthrax for a while. He was in Sebastian's band. And then, of course, Sebastian. And then that Bam Bam McConnell, who passed away.
Yeah, he's dead now.
Yeah, he's dead. Mm-hmm. So, I was hanging out with them. And, of course, these guys, Randy's all about the weed.
Right.
So his big, contribution to the party was he brought the weed, man.
Of course he did. What else would Randy provide?
Right. So, it's just like, yeah, we're going to get on Sebastian's bus after the show, man, and so look, Baz, look what I brought, man,
It's the good stuff, dude.
So I hung out there. I think I drove separate.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to hang out too long. And I went down and saw the show, and we kind of watched it from the side stage. And then, we went out and hung out with Sebastian and the guys in the bus for a little while. Yeah. And then once they started blazing up and stuff, I was like, dudes, I got to go.
I'm out of here.
Yeah. So I just packed it up and drove home. I was just like, all right, that's enough. That's enough fun for me in one evening.
Weed aside, I cannot imagine you enjoying being around Sebastian.
I wasn't. It was just, I wasn't even there. Maybe, man, I don't even think I spent 30 minutes there.
Okay. Came in, got your IDs, and fucking left.
For the most part, yeah. Yeah, for the most part. Just like, hey, how you doing? Glad to know you. Snap, couple pics. Here's a couple IDs. All right, cool show, Sebastian. Nice meeting you.
Yep, I'm out. See ya.
See ya. That was it for me.
Yeah, I've met him a couple times. I've partied with him and the Pantera boys and the Anthrax boys, and he can be fun, but yeah, he's very high energy. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah, I ran into him a couple of times at that's farm rock thing.
Yeah,
that happened out here, and I've got some photos and things, but. So it's like, Sebastian, I guess he's a nice enough guy and stuff, and I've talked to him a few times face to face, but, it's just like, he's not exactly the kind of guy I'd just hang out with.
Yeah, well, it's because he's a partier, and you're not.
Yeah.
And believe me, I'm a partier, and he's a bit much for me. I mean, I like to party as much as anybody, but boy, it's not so much the partying that bothers me, because I could give a shit what people are doing. It's the, hey man, what's going on? What are we going to do now? Where are we at? He's so fucking, it's like, dude, slow down just a little bit. Just a little.
Take a breath.
Yeah. Which I guess that's what's made him successful too, has been that high energy, because, even now, he's still, from every YouTube that I see, he still puts on a high energy show.
Right.
So he's still doing it.
Sure. Hail and Kill caller, you're on the air.
It's Wicks.
Hey, Chris, what's up?
Hey, yeah, the stuff I sent, that is when the Union era. That's 98, 99.
All right, so that's when they were... Ron's Crossroads.
The year we got captured was, Ron's Crossroads. The year that we got captured, Karabi told us both, me and Randy at Billy's Club Revolution, come to Kentucky, come to Virginia, everything's on me. So we, basically just took off. That was the one and only time with Randy. Once was enough. But we had a blast, always did when we hung out. I haven't seen Randy probably in about 7 to 10 years now. It's been a while.
Well, you guys drove through the night, right?
I came home, took a shower, grabbed clothes. He did the same thing, showed up at my house in his Ranger, and we were gone by 8 in the morning. We went to Lexington. It was Norfolk, Virginia, and then we weren't going to go to Lexington, and we showed up in Lexington, and Robbie's like, God damn it, I got to fucking sneak you in. I could have had you on the list and made this fucking simple. And he got all up in Randy's ass about it. Because I always had my shit together, working with Ron Keel and stuff like that. I always had my shit down, so.
Yeah, I didn't recall it was you who had went with Randy, but I remember, after the show.
The Revolution.
Yeah.
John come in and he grabbed me in the headlock and he says, what are you doing the next couple fucking days? I said, I don't know. And he says, let's talk. I'm in the corner back by the green room. He said, yeah, come with me, so everything's on me and whatever. And, Billy Moore's basically kind of knew me. Not as well as you guys or whatever, but, they were with Warrants, and it was the Rat thing. And, so we went to a few shows and had a great time. Had to reel Randy in quite a bit. I won't get into all the stuff that went on, but just, you guys know Randy, so you could just imagine.
Right. Very good. Well, we're interested in hearing this. So these recordings were during the Union stuff.
Yeah, it was basically, it seems like it's one of Chris's old voicemail tapes that had been taped over 1 million times, because there's all kinds of different parts of stuff with Nazareth and other bands that were interviewed for MBL at the time when Chris had Music's Bottom Line.
All right. Very cool. And is me or is it Randy?
There's stuff with you on there, too. There's the one when you blew Peter Chris out of the water with the thing about the drumming with Valentine and all that. That interview's on there.
Well, is this the best of music's bottom line disc that Chris put out a while back?
No. It might have been some of the stuff that was used, like the Peter Chris maybe, but no. This is stuff with Nazareth, band from Nazareth. There's stuff about Manowar. There's almost an hour of what Randy gave me on the tape, just labeled me bullshitting with Karabi first time. And it was and Chris started the interview or ended his interview and said, "I got a friend that's a major fan. Let me pass him over." And there's the comedy gold.
Yeah, that's. I heard a little bit of that, and I just stopped because I figured there's so much audio there that I probably need to cut it up into chunks.
Yeah, that's why I tried to get it to you as quick as possible when I knocked the cassette down to the disc, so that you could go through it, because there's addresses, there's some drama, some issues with old publicists, there's phone numbers. Even though this shit's 20-some-odd years old, you don't need no bullshit coming to bite you in the ass, you know.
Right. Nope. I definitely will do it.
It's a 90-minute cassette, 2 sides, 45 minutes each disc. So you see what's there.
Very nice.
And it's not just all Randy. There is shit with you. There's shit with your kids coming in the door, and you're telling them I'm on the phone doing an interview, and they're really little, and it's all good.
Awesome. Well, dude, that's a hell of a find, man. I could tell you, and I'm sure I speak for Neeley on this, we definitely appreciate that kind of a find, because I don't think either one.
I figure when you went through your shit cannon with the X, you lost a lot of that stuff, so maybe the last few cassettes, the ones I sent you about 6 years ago, that we had the comedy gold with.
Yeah.
I knew I had this one, but I didn't think it was as good. But I basically just wanted you to have it for your own personal stuff. But if you bring it to the show, like you said, it could go on forever.
Well, it's coming to the show.
Word by word.
It's definitely coming to the show, because I only listened to a few minutes, but what I heard was absolutely hysterical with Randy. So,
I took it to my uncle so I could knock it down, and I hadn't heard it in like 20 years. And we just looked at each other, and my uncle, he didn't really know Randy, but he knows all of the era and that we hung out and whatever, but he never personally met Randy. But he's just, oh my God, and I was like, I got to tell Aiken and Neeley, don't hit your head too hard laughing when you fucking fall over hearing this shit. Because he starts that shit again. I was the dude with the blonde hair, and and I'm tall, and it's like they fucking remember you, So, all right, I'm gonna get out of here. Hail and kill. Fuck you, pal. Hand job.
All right. Well, there goes Chris Wicks.
Chris Wicks checking in.
So he gave you some comedy gold.
He did. And for people that don't know who Chris Wicks is, that's old school there, my friends.
Yeah.
That's early years of the classic metal show.
Very early, yeah.
Yeah. That's even before that. That predates me, doesn't it?
I met, Randy introduced me to Chris. Boy.
Through MBL?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I met Randy. I think I met Randy in like 97, 7-ish, early 98. And then I met you probably 6 months later when, of course, I ran into you and Randy at the Black Crows.
Sure.
But he introduced me to Chris probably in that same time period.
Okay. Very cool.
Because he was always networking with all the Cleveland people.
Yeah. He was trying to make it happen.
Yeah, he was out there at every show and, promoting his band. And
dude, you guys got to hear this band, Wicked Heart. It's the best. Let me give you one of our towels, our liquor and sticker towels.
Well, that was so funny. That's a whole nother story about the whole Miss Liquor and Sticker.
Miss Liquor and Sticker and the tour and the publicist.
Oh man.
Randy is just not anybody that's had any episode with Randy, even if it's just hanging out with him for dinner, you come away with a story that you could tell somebody. Randy is always fucking funny.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's in the most annoying way possible. Like when he was here driving Michael Hannon up the fucking wall.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Oh, dude! And of course I could not have just. Hannon was absolutely hating on Randy, and Randy was just annihilated, stoned, and Randy's mic wasn't working. But we just left it in front of him anyway.
Yeah.
And Randy was just like, he kept falling asleep. And then I would wake him up, and then Hannon would be like, "What are you fucking waking him up for?" and I just kept throwing it to Randy. You know, we'd be talking, me, Hannon, and Omam would be sitting here talking about some topic, whatever topic it was. And I'd be like, "What do you think about that, Randy?" And he'd be like, you know, trying to wake up.
Yeah, I was paying attention. I was just resting my eyes.
Yeah. And meanwhile, he's talking into a microphone that's been turned off for 2.5 hours.
Right. Too funny. Hail and kill caller. You're on the air.
If you're talking Trask, you mentioned the Lick 'em and Stick 'em tour. I'm going to take the retro bus back to 2000, I think it was. And Trask was playing some show up in, you remember the Flying Machine? You all remember Mitch, right?
Oh, yeah.
And, out in Elyria or Lorraine?
Lorraine, that little, you had to drive way back through the trees and went long and winding road, took you to the trees. And Trask was in the, it was the Lick 'em and Stick 'em tour. I remember when we were sitting there, he goes, "Hey, I got some." I knew him, but he didn't know. He knew me, but he didn't know it was me at the time. And he gave me a Lick 'em and Stick 'em tour backstage pass. Mind you, we're at the Flying Machine. Okay, there's probably 8 people there, and just this blissful unawareness. It was awesome. So he goes on stage, and maybe you've seen this. He starts the show off by wearing this mask, and he comes on with an axe. Do you remember the axe?
That was his mascot, Dust in Our Bones.
Right.
Dust in Our Bones. That's right, yes. And he came out, and he was playing, I think he was playing, like, he had the drummer keep the beat to Gypsy Road behind him as he took this thing and started slashing this stuffed animal apart on stage. And mind you, it's to 500 people in a packed club, it'd be great, but there was probably 8 people there. And Trask could not have cared less. So I will tell you this before I give you that. Are we still saying hail and kill, even though the guy is a child molester? Have we abandoned that slogan, or are we still using it?
No, we're still using it.
We're still using it. Okay, we'll wait till it's tried true, yeah. Trask's blissful unawareness is absolute radio gold. I love it every time you guys talk about it. When I found your show for the first time, hearing you guys talk Trask, I was sitting there going, oh my God, somebody else understands the esoteric nature of one Randy Trask. So listen, more Trask is always a winner. And it's the hail and kill, it's the hand job, and it's the fuck both you guys. Love your show. And thank you for not succumbing to political correctness, and we'll keep listening. Thanks, guys.
All right.
That's another Randy fan.
There you go. Randy has an audience.
He does.
As he should.
Yeah, Randy's well known. He's the first Billy, whatever that guy's, the guy for Firefest.
Oh, Billy McFarlane.
Yeah, he's the original Billy McFarlane.
Dude, up on my wall over you know that wall that I have all the backstage passes and shit on?
Uh-huh.
Over there somewhere is a button for, and this is old. Remember Rock the Region?
Yes.
With Wicked Heart, Gear, Ashes to Ashes. Who else was on that? There was like 5 bands. And the 5 bands were playing basically from Akron to Pittsburgh. And they were calling it a tour. And that was that was their tour, was that they played like Ron's Crossroads. Then the next week they played the Revolution, and then the next week they went and played whatever club in Pittsburgh, and they called it a tour.
Yeah, it was a tour. They took after Michael Stanley with his North Coast tour.
Yeah, well, but they had buttons and they had T-shirts.
Yeah, well, you gotta do it big time. I mean, if you're gonna promote a tour, you gotta have a tour shirt and tour gear.
Do you remember Randy had this huge box of T-shirts? It had to be 1,000 T-shirts.
Well, dude, I still have several of them.
Do you?
Yeah.
Because he didn't sell any of them.
No, of course not. I mean, up until the last 2 years,
yeah,
I couldn't move a CMS shirt.
Right.
And I know how popular that stuff is, and I've priced them to sell, especially when I don't charge any shipping.
Right.
$20, for a regular size, small, medium, or large.
Right.
Or extra large, and I don't even charge you shipping, and I sell probably half a dozen a month.
Yeah, but you weren't in an award-winning band.
Well, that is true, but the thing is that, unless you've really got something going on, you're not going to be selling merch.
No, and you certainly didn't need to order 1,000 of them. That's
no, of course not. Of course not.
Jacqueline in the chat room, Randy was giving them away at Chris's book party.
Yeah.
Was he really?
No, he's just kidding. I think he was just kidding about that. But then again, I don't know. Maybe he was.
Who knows? Randy might have brought him to the show or to the book party to showcase who he was. Remember me? I was in Wicked Heart, man. Remember that guy Roger?
Yes.
What do you think happened to that guy?
I don't know, but I got a story about that.
Let's hear that.
Well, I think I told you that story that they used to practice at Roger's house as bass player.
Yeah.
And, I was really honest with Randy. I was just like, man, you guys need some help. I told him, he goes, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And I'm just like, you know what? You guys need a little help. Well, maybe if you could come out to one of our practices.
Right.
And I was just like, okay. And he goes, yeah, we're practicing at Roger's house on Thursday night or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, okay. And he gave me the address. He's like, it was out in West Akron somewhere.
Okay.
And so I said, okay, I'll come out and listen, Right. So I get to this house, and it was like a hoarder lived there. I mean, it was just horrific. It was just filthy. There was shit piled up everywhere. I mean, it had animal smell. Oh. It was just unbelievable. As soon as I walked in the door, my eyes just started burning.
Right. Because
of the animal dander and the, animal urine, and it was just a dirty house.
Right.
And it's like, well, we're practicing downstairs, right?
Okay.
So I went downstairs. I went down in this basement, mm-hmm. and I mean the smell of mold down there was just unbasement. I mean,
was there like washing machines and shit down there?
Yeah, of course. It was a basement. It was an unfinished basement.
All right.
And they were down there, and they had their gear set up and things, and it was just filthy.
Right.
And it was just, oh my God. And I got down there, and my nose is burning and my eyes are burning because it's just moldy.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever been in a moldy place or not, but I'm really hypersensitive to allergy stuff anyway. Sure. But boy, I tell you, I was just miserable between the smell of animals and mold and dirt and just a filthy place.
Yeah. And that's before the music you had to have something through.
It was all I could do to sit there and go through and listen to their set, and just kind of give them some, just some thoughts. It's like,
what were your thoughts? Quit?
Well, no, it was just like, you're too loud in the bass, and you need to do this. I was just giving them some critique.
Right.
Not that I'm an expert, but just from someone who will actually be honest, because I had nothing to lose.
Sure.
But boy, I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
Right.
I was just like, oh my God.
Dude, I used to hate. Remember back during that time, because I had Music's Bottom Line, and I was also doing the metal show, I think, at the same time. And remember how I used to book shows a lot? I used to put together shows, a lot of shows at Ron's Crossroads.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would always do Randy the solid of putting Randy on the show. And it used to drive me crazy because all the bands and all the friends and everything would come out, and they'd be like, dude, who is that fucking band that's opening? They were just terrible. They would just kill me. I'd be like, it's just a friend, whatever. And then Randy would be like, at some point we'd be outside, in between bands or something, and Randy'd be like, dude, we fucking kicked ass tonight, didn't we? And I'd be like, You guys are really loud tonight, Randy. That's for damn sure, man. You know, I hate because, and it's hard to explain it with Randy, but he's one of those guys that no matter how lousy he is, you always think that you're right on the verge of breaking his heart.
Right.
You know, I mean, if you go to him and say, dude, you really, really suck, it would absolutely destroy him. Because he puts way too much value in other people's opinions.
Yeah. Well, again, which is why he invited me out to the rehearsal,
right?
You know, and I was just like, okay, I'll give you some notes.
Yeah. and dude, what was the funniest thing with Randy was the first time I heard him do the Guns N' Roses thing. He was the Axl Rose in a Guns N' Roses tribute band called Paradise City.
Yeah, and he did really well at that.
And it was astonishing. It was. I mean, this was a guy that was in a band that pretty much no one liked, and everybody liked Randy. No one liked Roger. No one liked their music. And then the other two guys there was like two different guys every single week.
Yeah.
In that band, there was always a new drummer and a new bass player.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but everybody loved Randy, hated Roger, hated the music that they were playing. But so when Randy hits me up and he's like, dude, you gotta check out my Guns N' Roses band. And I was like, well, what are you doing it? And he's like, I'm a singer. I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be a fucking, because Axl Rose, not an easy voice to do.
True.
You know, it's really not, and especially from somebody that has enough trouble doing a regular voice in a band. And I went out to one of his shows and I was like, mother of fuck, this guy sounds exactly like Axl Rose.
Yeah, and they did such a great job with it that they were actually on that Fake Fest tour.
Yeah.
And as the Guns N' Roses band on there, and it was really good.
And they were not like the opener either, were they? They were like in the middle of the
pack. They were like the third band in, maybe.
Yeah, so they were definitely strong as Guns N' Roses. And I remember Randy's over here at the house one day, and he's like, oh, this Guns N' Roses thing, it's cool and all, but I'm not making my own music, man. I got to make my own music. I feel confined by doing Axl's music. And I'm like, well, dude, you can do your own music, but use this voice. And he's like, yeah, but people are going to compare me to Axl Rose. I was like, so fucking what?
Yeah.
You know, there's one Axl Rose out there. If there's two, you'll be the knockoff guy, but you can have some success with that. You could actually get some attention, and you could do your own music, and people will mistake it for Axl Rose at first, but then they'll learn your name. And I kept trying to tell him, I was like, dude, I told him 50 ways from Sunday. I was like, people like this sound. They don't like your real voice. You know, and he just wouldn't do it. So finally, after weeks and weeks of this conversation, Randy says, all right, I'm gonna do it. And he disappeared for eons. And what he came back with was that demo that we always play on the show with Roller Coaster.
Yeah, the Roller Coaster.
And he says, well, I use the Axl in there. Listen to the yell. You know, it's like, dude, he does like one second of Axl voice, and all the rest is his normal voice.
Sure.
Do you have that handy?
I do. I'll dig it out here and
give me a little Roller Coaster.
All right, Hail and Kill Caller, you're on the air.
It is awesome that I live in a world where there are two other people who share stories like this. I could not be happier here eating my peanut butter and jelly toast, sitting at home hearing these stories. It is fantastic. Here is the funniest thing about a guy like Trask. And again, we talk about his blissful unawareness being really what is in essence, the beauty of Trask. And isn't it amazing that Trask was spending every dime of his $12 an hour job back in the day to promote, like you said, to buy 1,000 T-shirts at a clip, completely unaware of the fact that he could probably buy like 20 and kind of, not leverage himself to the tilt. But finally, and you guys are so right, I saw him when he did the Paradise City. I was in another tribute band at the time, and we were aware of Trask whereabouts and whatnot, and he used to come out and see us and whatnot. We'd talk, and I'd be like, hey, Trask, yeah. So, we kind of had a running joke, kind of in a very quiet, condescending way. We'd laugh about it. And we walked in and heard Trask, and we're like, holy shit, he's good. I go, this is amazing. And guys, what is it about him that finally all the marketing and all the promotion and all the shit shows that he threw his money behind, why would he not promote something? The upward mobility for a Guns N' Roses tribute band where you are actually good, sky's the limit. You're talking $2,500 a gig, guys. I can tell you right now what you can make being that specialized as a tribute show. To come out and do an hour-and-a-half show, place between casinos and place, you're talking $2,500 a clip, and he didn't promote it.
Yeah, he didn't want to do it, and it made no sense that he didn't do it because he definitely committed to it when he was doing it. I mean, he dyed his hair red and he would do the actual snake dance and all that other shit. I mean, he was really good at it, but he wanted to do Wicked Heart, man.
And that Wicked Heart is atrocious. And I'm just hearing Neeley talk about a black mold infested damp 1920s basement in West Akron with, I'm sure, the drummer playing with like giant power toms with mold growing on the inside of his black dot drum head, thudding tune, and Neeley having to sit there and listen to shit. I can totally, I can put myself in that spot and think, Trask, you had something. But man, the question is, didn't Trask really just want to be accepted and to basically be like on the scene? And that being the case, why wouldn't he, put himself full throttle behind something where he was gaining some traction? The Paradise City Band was good. He was excellent in that role. And I'm like, he's got something. I can't fucking believe it. Randy Trask is going to do something. And next thing you know, you're right. He's cutting more 4-song EPs that are garbage. And you just sit back and go, is he self-destructive or completely, is he like sometimes people can't handle prosperity. It's like one of those things, they experience prosperity and they don't know what to do with it once they get it. Is that the case, or is he just that unaware that he just doesn't even know that he committed at least fiscal career suicide with that?
I would say he's unaware personally.
Well, I think that Randy's belief that hype over substance was the key to success.
That's good. You're right. The hype. He was really about. But why, when you had something why can't you marry the two entities, Neeley? Why can't you take the hype and put it behind something that actually has some music and marketability and it has some merit? I mean, he could have done the hype, and he would have been hyping something that was really good.
Well, because I think Chris pointed it out that he wanted to do something original, that he wasn't a copycat or he wasn't just a knockoff. He was the original deal.
Yeah, I think you're right. He still had that. I mean, Trask's got to be in his mid-40s at this point. Even from that perspective, he never went the route, well, you know what? It's over. I'm a certain age. Let me just do the tribute thing. Let me abandon this and let me give in to, making a couple $100 a night and being happy. There was still that, and the thing about it, don't you think bands and just the scene in general, let's put away the actual musical ability of the songs, but don't you think a scene needs guys like Trask to really flourish? Don't people have to go into it with sort of innocence and tunnel vision of just an unyielding sort of need for performance? And think about the time he put sitting at home making up that goddamn axe he would swing and chop the heads off. You need guys like that to develop a scene. I would so much rather go out and look at, we're talking about it 20 years later. I've seen lots of great bands. Since then, I don't remember their names. I remember nothing about them because it's so dull, and people don't have that blissful unawareness that you need to really create that kind of scene. You know what I'm saying? Would you rather go out and see Trask just be a complete unaware goofball than to see some guy who could give you Yngwie Malmsteen pentatonic scales up the ass? What's a better show to go see?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, Randy is an idealist. He has the ideal of the rock and roll lifestyle and living the dream, And he wanted a piece of that pie. And he just believed that, you know, having merchandise, having a mascot, you know, going out there, promote. That's how I got involved with Randy, is I met him at a Jackal show. And the first thing he started telling me about was his band Wicked Heart. And, hey, you got a radio show. Any chance I could come down there and hang out with you and promote my shows and things? You know, he was the master promoter, and I give the guy props for doing that, because he wanted to live the dream of being a rock star. And that's what drove him.
Think about Neeley. Think if he'd actually had a marketable product, he would have been grossly successful, because he just worked that hard. His problem was he had nothing to market. And when you are marketing, and when you are overly pushing something with absolutely no merit to it, it just makes you look ridiculous, and you lose all credibility. That's why it's crazy that when he had a marketable product, he quickly just distanced himself from it. And you're like, Trask, you are. I will tell you this: my dealings with Trask, he's always been a super cool dude, like a genuinely cool guy. You know, I mean, would I want to be a roommate with Randy Trask, or would I want Randy Trask dating my daughter is only 6, so no, I wouldn't want him dating my daughter. But would I want Trask? No. But if you know, let me tell you what: when your alternator dies and you're sitting in the middle of Route 76, do you want to know Randy Trask is there to come give you a ride? Absolutely. You know what I mean? It's one of those kind of things that's like, you know, he's a bud, but man, you want to just slap him and say, God damn it, Trask, make the money. You've got a skill set here. But no, anyway, I love listening to these stories, guys. So just thanks for doing this shit. And I'm going to sit here and probably pour another cup of coffee with a toast. And, you know, it's like a fireside chat. And, you know, feel free to take some, liberal bashing while you're at it, because I always enjoy that. And I'm glad you guys, I feel like there's a degree of sanity when I hear people just so disgusted with,
society,
literary caution. So enjoy it, guys. Thanks, and hail and kill, and don't fuck kids if you're the guitarist, and, you know, all real men play on 10, and blah, blah, blah. And I'll be listening, and cool. See you guys.
Later.
All right. I got it. Here's some Roller Coaster.
All right.
Here we go.
That song has a hook. It's catchy.
It is.
If anybody else was singing it, it could be good.
Yeah.
It is catchy.
I agree.
Give me some rock and roll heaven. You got that handy?
Rock and roll heaven.
That's on there.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the next one down.
All right, let's have some rock and roll heaven.
Cause I know where I'm going.
Stan the man with the master plan.
That's his tribute to Stan.
Yeah. Stan his mentor.
Stan built the rock and roll chair, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
That thing is, wow. That's like Game of Thrones meets, I don't know, spare parts in a truck junkyard. That chair is something.
Yeah, it is.
I have not seen Randy in a capacity where he also had the chair, but I need to sit in that chair.
Right.
I have to.
Got to get a photo in that chair.
I do. That chair is something else.
Well, we can't do a proper Randy tribute without playing his Boss Hitbound single, Just a Game.
Oh yeah, that's a big one too.
That's a big one, Just a Game. Here we go.
Don't you know it's a game? Just a thing called life we play. Can't you hear us sing your word? Then I say, don't you know it's a game? Just a thing called life we play. Can't you hear us sing your word? Then I say. You know I get 'em and I get 'em.
That's the Axl Rose scream.
Yeah, that's the Axl scream, and he does it.
Don't you know it's a game? Just a thing called life we play. Can't you hear us sing your words? Then I say, don't you know it's a game? Just a thing called life we play. Can't you hear us sing your words? Then I say.
All right, there you go.
I was rocking to that, man. Don't you know it's a game? Wow! He does do the Axl scream in there,
He does.
but that's like the only good note of the whole song.
Right.
Yeah, that of course is from the demo of Randy Trask and the Buds.
Right, of course.
You know, not to be confused with Wicked Heart. That's post Wicked Heart, which the Buds are still out there doing shows.
Well, that's good. I'm glad he hasn't given up on the dream.
No, he's still trying to make it.
Yeah. Well,
Dude.
what was really funny, and speaking of Stan the man with the master plan,
Yeah.
Randy, you know, our caller was talking about how he spent, you know, his disposable income on, you know, his whole band idea and promoting everything. Mm-hmm. When he met this guy, and we'll talk about this. This guy was from the Detroit area.
Sure.
And supposedly he was one of Sebastian Bach's first contacts in the United States when Sebastian Bach was in Madam X prior to joining Skid Row.
Right.
And this Stan the Man guy
With the master plan.
yeah, he's like some kind of local guy in Detroit who's like some kind of a promoter or something. And when Randy was on a Sebastian kick, he met up with this guy.
Right.
And was so enamored with him that, you know, this guy had been around and he'd, you know, seen bands come and go, and, you know, every band that passed through Harpo's in Detroit, this guy was somehow involved. Mm-hmm. So Randy, like he did with John Corabi, he gets onto this whole interview jag with this guy.
Right.
And he's calling this guy on the phone and talking for hours and hours and hours.
He was getting the lowdown on how to make it.
With this Stan the Man.
Dude, Stan had the knowledge of how to make it big.
And he was recording all of these phone conversations.
He was.
And at the end of the month, his phone bill was like $1,600. I remember he told me his phone bill was $1,600.
Yeah, that was back when you had to pay for long distance.
Yeah, you had to pay for long distance.
Right.
And I was just like, you got to be fucking shitting me. It's like, oh, this guy, he's just got so much knowledge and he's going to help me and he's going to, do this and that and the other thing. And, he's just fascinating. And I've been interviewing him for, almost every night of the week, every night for a month.
Dude, can I borrow $1,300? I got to pay my stand bill, man.
$1,600 for a phone bill. I says, you got to be kidding me.
Good Lord.
I know.
I just put a picture of the chair in the chat room. Look at that thing. Especially like the accordion as the footrest.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Randy is a character all to himself.
He is. Maybe one day when you run out of things to write about, maybe you can write a book like the improbable rise of Randy Trask or something.
Yeah. Well, he's done more than most of us. Wasn't he featured in like the New York Times?
Well, yeah. I mean, and I was actually going to bring that up, that the rock journalist Chuck Klosterman actually rode along with Randy,
right,
to a couple of the Guns N' Roses gigs, and actually wrote a chapter about him in one of his books. I think it was something about Cocoa Puffs or
I don't know,
something or other, one of his books. But he was featured in one of Chuck Klosterman's like New York Times articles, and that article is part of the book.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking. I'm trying. Yeah, Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, I knew it was something like that. Yeah, he's in that book.
Yep. Yeah, he's actually listed on librarything.com. Randy Trask.
Yeah. So yeah, Chuck. If you know who Chuck Klosterman is, he wrote Fargo, Rock City, or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
another book. He's written several books. He's a journalist. He did a stint at the Akron Beacon Journal for a while, and then he moved over to New York City.
Right.
And he's been a journalist over there and written books and things. And yeah. Randy caught his attention, and he did a ride along with him for a couple of nights.
Yeah, well, Randy's an important player.
He is. It's pretty interesting, but yeah, Randy's had a very storied career.
Randy, since I'm doing a solo show next week, I may have to give Randy a call, see what he's doing. I would love to have him come down if he's got time.
It's a busy schedule.
Well, he might have a Buds gig.
Yeah, he might have a gig.
Might be out there with the Buds. I'm gonna definitely reach out to him, see if he wants to come down, because God knows any time with Randy is fun.
So there's our bud Randy.
Yeah, Randy's the man.
Randy and the Buds. No, Stan's the man.
Is that Stan with that beard?
I don't know.
In the chat room?
Let me take a look. I don't think so. I don't think that's him.
No?
No.
All right. Boy, when you go to the internet...
I know. That's why I don't like that at all.
Boy.
Every time I bring the browser page up, it just buzzes like crazy.
Buzzes like nutty buzzer there.
It does.
All right, I won't ask you to do that no more. Go to another computer.
Yeah.
You need a third computer just to have internet.
Yeah, there you go.
Too funny. Well, Randy is, I could never get enough of Randy, and I could tell stories for days about Randy. I mean, because especially during the Music's Bottom Line days, I hung out with Randy all the time.
Yeah.
And every single time you would go do something with Randy, it was an adventure. There was, and I don't know if you had the same experience or not, but for me, anytime we went somewhere, there was a story to tell about it. Every time. There was never a time that we just went out, had 2 beers before a show, and then watched the show and then went home. That never happened, ever, with Randy. There was always something that fucking went berserk.
Well, I got another Randy story if you'd like to hear one.
Sure, I'm always up to those.
So the band Nazareth
Yeah.
was out promoting their Boogaloo album.
Okay.
This was like 99 or something like that. When did Boogaloo come out? It's like
Somewhere in there. It was in that CMC era.
Yeah, it was like 99 or 2000, somewhere around there.
Right.
And it was a Sunday night. They were playing at, I believe they were playing at the Odeon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met up with Randy early, and we decided when Cleveland still had a Hard Rock Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the Hard Rock Cafe to get something to eat before the show.
Okay.
And I because I connected with Nazareth, we had after show passes and stuff.
Okay.
And so we went to the Hard Rock, and we're just kind of sitting there, just minding our own business, just shooting the shit. Now, mind you, this was Randy had his long hair.
Sure.
And my hair was really long at that time, and we were just sitting there, just eating our burgers and stuff. So these chicks started coming by asking us, who are you guys with? Who are you guys with?
Right.
So Randy starts telling these chicks he's with Nazareth.
All right.
And so that was the whole thing. And so while we're sitting there just eating, burgers and whatever, these people are just, you could see them just staring and talking and pointing and, we got rock stars in here.
I think that's the guitar player from Nazareth.
Yeah.
What was their song? And that's what in the
Yeah,
Hard
of
Rock,
course.
I mean,
Of course.
most people could not name 2 Nazareth songs.
Yeah.
So that they're looking at you guys going, look at that.
Yeah.
It's the bass player. Which one do you think is the singer?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's the guy that looks like Dog the Bounty. Even though that show hasn't been released yet.
Exactly. Nobody knew who Dog the Bounty Hunter was at that point.
Right.
So, that was one of them deals. And so we went to the show, and then we did go meet up with them afterwards.
Right.
Couldn't have been the nicest guys ever met in music.
Oh, yeah. Those guys are really nice.
They were just really nice. And the guy, the nicest guy of them all, and they were all nice, but the nicest one of them all was what was his name? The drummer, Sweet.
I don't know. I don't know any of their names.
Well, the unfortunate thing was he was just like really, really nice. He's just like, yeah, we're out on this tour, and we're gonna, come back through Cleveland, and we want you guys to come back because you guys are a lot of fun to hang with. And 2 weeks later, guy's dead of a heart attack.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't your fault.
No. But it was sad because the guy was super nice, just
right.
friendly, and those guys were taking pictures and telling us stories, and it was a really cool hang with those guys, and it's just like, holy shit.
Yeah, Daryl Sweet.
Daryl Sweet, yeah, he died.
Yeah.
Died in southern Indiana or outside of Kentucky there just before a show.
Dude, he's been dead 20 years.
Yeah, it wasn't long. It wasn't long after that the guy died of a heart attack.
We are really getting old.
I know, but I remember that like it was yesterday. Though we really had a good time at that show.
Yeah, well, might as well. It was the last time you ever saw that guy. Now his dust is dust.
Yeah, really.
Jeez. 20 years. Oof.
Yeah, time goes by, man.
Sure does.
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
All right, you ready to take a short break?
Yeah, I need to give some coffee back.
All right. Got anything you'd like to hear?
How about, I was listening to a little bit of Saxon today.
Okay.
So how about some, not Denim and Leather. Let me find a good one. Let me find a good song to play from Saxon. From that album, though, how about going with Rough and Ready?
Some Rough and Ready. All right. We got her all queued up there, ready to rock and roll.
All right.
All right. Well, we're going to play a couple of tunes. We'll be back. Here's some Saxon with Rough and Ready, exclusively here
on your classic metal show.